I'm going to start the lab as people slowly trickle on. All right, so this lab is about the digestive system. So just in case you haven't watched the screencastify, I'm going to just read about the function of the digestive system, and then we're going to demonstrate digestion in a bag. This bag is going to change different organs that it's going to represent. Digestion happens inside our body, so we can't see it with our eyes. So I'm going to simulate it in this bag. So the digestive system is a group of organs that work together to break down the chemical components of food into small nutrients that can be absorbed by cells to create energy for the body. This system also builds and replaces cells and tissues, which are constantly dying. So I'm going to simulate all the organs that are a part of this entire process. Then the entire process from start to finish in a normal human being takes about 8-ish, 12-ish hours. It really depends on how much food you consume. If you consume a really big meal, then it's going to take longer. If you consume a small meal, which is what I'm going to demonstrate today, then it will happen a little bit quicker. So the very first organ that is involved in digestion is your mouth. So your bag right now is going to represent the mouth. And today we are eating healthy. So our mouth is going to eat a banana. I'll put my banana in here. Now, when your banana is in your mouth, your teeth, they start to bite and crunch and mush all of that banana up so that you can swallow it. We can't just swallow the banana whole, we would choke. So we chew it up, and then it looks something like this. Now, a lot of times when we are chewing, we also drink. So I'm thirsty, I'm gonna drink some water. Once you put the water, you swallow it. So who remembers, where does the food go after your mouth? Where does the food go after your mouth? So we have the mouth. We were in the mouth. I just swallowed. Where's my food now? If I've already swallowed, my mouth is emptied. My bag is no longer the mouth. Where is it going to go next? Here, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll cover up this part. What is this called? The esophagus. Very good. So it's going to go down the esophagus and into the stomach. Now, in the stomach is going to squeeze and release. It's going to squeeze and release. So the stomach's going to do like this. And it's going to continue to do this. It's going to continue to do this until the food is turned into a soup-like consistency. So it's liquefying it. Who remembers what is in your stomach that causes it to liquefy? It's also what kills the bacteria. So that banana, guarantee you had some bacteria on it. However, there's something in our stomach that turns that banana into liquid, but it also kills the bacteria. If you'll type in the comments what it is that turns this into liquid, and in addition, kills the bacteria. So we're here. We're in the stomach. Very good. It's acid. Hydrochloric acid. So if you've ever been really sick with the stomach virus, and there's no food in your stomach, but you're throwing up, that yellowish color that you vomit, that's hydrochloric acid. And so if maybe your throat burned the next day, and that's from the acid. Your stomach is about 22 centimeters big. So remember, 2 fists. I talked about this in the Screencastify video, 2 fists. So if the food on your plate is larger than the portion of 2 fists, then you're eating too much food. Now, as the contents slowly empty the stomach, they go into our next organ. Where does it go after the stomach? Where does it go after the stomach? Small intestines, very good. It goes into the small intestines. Now, the small intestines, ironically, is not small. It is 22 feet long, which is 690 centimeters. 22 feet long. So how does this fit inside of you? You can see that it's all squiggled up, and that's what allows it to be able to fit inside of your body. A lot happens in the small intestines, which is what I'm about to demonstrate next. Put our small intestines here. So we had the mouth where we did the chewing and the grinding, and then the esophagus, which it does those wave-like contractions, which pushes the food down into the stomach. Our stomach turned it into this soupy mixture. This actually has a name, this consistency. It's called chyme, C-H-Y-M-E. Chyme is what we call when your food turns into this liquidy mixture. And now it's going to slowly, about a tablespoon at a time, will get dumped into your small intestines. Now, in your small intestines, some enzymes are going to be added. One of those enzymes comes from your liver. That enzyme is called bile. So we're going to drop some bile into our liquidy mixture because the liver needs to help break down the fat. So we're going to put some bile in there. We have some bile in there. And then also our pancreas. Bananas have sugar. So our pancreas is also going to release some insulin. So I'm going to use this to represent the insulin. So those enzymes are now mixing with those nutrients in the small intestine. Mix that up a little bit. In the small intestines, not only are enzymes being added, but absorption is taking place. So in your small intestines, you have these little finger-like projections that are lining the inside of your small intestines, and they act like little straws. So as this banana that has been broken down into small little tiny molecules, small enough that they can fit through those little finger-like projections, as the banana passes through the small intestines, those little villi are going to suck this up. And those nutrients are going to get dumped into your blood that came from the banana so that all the tissue in the body can get the energy and nutrients that it needs. It will continue to travel all the way through the 22 feet of your small intestines. So it has to travel a really, really, really long way. Then it leaves the small intestines, which ironically is not small in length. It's just really small in diameter. It's very narrow. However, it's very long. So then we go into the what? Where do we go? Where is this going to go into now? You think you're going to be sick? We're not even to the gross part yet, Anthony. So yes, that's food coloring. So we're in the small intestines. The food is traveled all the way to the end of the small intestines. Very good. We're going to go into the large intestines right here. So our large intestines is large because of the diameter. You can see that it's a lot wider than the small intestines. However, it is a lot shorter in length. It is only 5 feet. I say only 5 feet, but 5 feet is still about from my shoulders to the ground. So that's still really long, and that's all squished inside of your abdomen. We got our large intestines in here now. And then we have your liver and your gallbladder. If you remember, your liver makes the bile, and then it gets dumped into your gallbladder, which gets dumped into your small intestines. So your liver's over here. Liver makes bile. Bile breaks down fat. And then it dumps into the small intestines. And then your pancreas, which produces insulin and breaks down sugar. It gets also dumped into your small intestines. Oh, my large intestines has fallen. Okay. So we broke down, we got absorbed into the blood. Now, what is left over goes into the large intestines. The main thing that takes place in the 5-foot-long large intestines is absorption of water. So this is an additional place to where if your body needs more water, it will absorb water. So we're going to take this paper towel and it's going to act as the absorption in our large intestines. So I'm just going to put that in there and let it sit for a second. So this food will slowly travel through your large intestines where the liquid that is remaining in that chyme will be absorbed. So what's going to happen to that liquid? It's going to turn back into what? What is it going to turn back into? It was liquid, and now it's going to be what again? You can kind of see it slowly happening here. It was liquid, and now it's going to be turned back into a solid. Yeah, it's going to be turned back into a solid because it is the feces is being created. So you can see it's solidifying as the paper towel absorbs the liquid, which is just exactly like what your large intestines does. I might need to put another paper towel in here. So now we are in the large intestines. We're making our way down to the last section of our large intestines. This is the rectum and the anus. Go ahead, get your giggles out. The rectum and the anus. Now, this is the only section of your digestive system that you have voluntary control over. And I explained in the screencast about this is why we're not pooping on ourselves all day long, because we can hold it in until we're able to go to the bathroom and relieve ourselves. Now, babies are not born with complete voluntary control over their rectum and anus, and this is why they wear diapers. Now, over time and practice of holding in the feces, then those muscles and those nerve endings get better at holding in the feces until they can make their way to the bathroom to relieve themselves. So it's a learned voluntary control action, but you do have voluntary control over this section of your digestive system. So you can tell it, no, 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 don't go. And then you can tell it, all right, go ahead. You can exit the body now. So leading to that, we are on the final stages of the digestive system. We are now in the rectum and anus. So that means I'm going to need a toilet. So I got my toilet here. Let me cut this. And now the waste will exit the body. I know, isn't that lovely? All right, so we get the point, okay? All right, so recap. Our food does mechanical changes by chomping and breaking down the food. And then we swallow. The food goes into our esophagus where peristalsis contractions push that food down into our stomach. In our stomach, it mixes with hydrochloric acid and any liquid that we drink, and it turns that solid into a liquid. Now, what's happening during that phase is those really large molecules that you ate are being broken down into microscopic molecules, so that when that soup liquid-like mixture enters the small intestines, it can be absorbed through those villi. Those molecules have to be small enough that they can be absorbed through the villi. Once in the small intestines, our liver that produces bile is going to release bile from our gallbladder into our small intestines. Our pancreas is going to release insulin into our small intestines. These enzymes will continue to help break down the food as it's being absorbed in the small intestines. It will travel through this 22 feet. This is the longest stage of digestion, is in your small intestines, because that food has to go all the way through that 22 feet before it makes its way into the large intestines. Once it's into the large intestines, this is where the absorption of water will occur. The water will be absorbed. The water will be absorbed. By the time it makes it to the rectum and the anus, it becomes a solid again, where it is held until your rectum and anus tell your brain, we got some pressure going on in here. It's time to go to the bathroom and relieve yourself. And then, of course, as you saw in my potty, the feces leaves the body. That is the gist of the digestive system. The whole purpose of the digestive system is to absorb nutrients, but in order to absorb those nutrients, they have to be broken down into teeny tiny molecules and taken in by the small intestines and then put in our blood, where our heart pumps that nutrients to all the tissues in our body. So really our digestive system also works with our circulatory system, because once the digestive system takes those nutrients into the blood, the heart pumps those nutrients all over your body so that every cell in your body can get the nutrients that it needs from the food that you eat. This is also why the saying comes from, you are what you eat. If you eat healthy food, then you have healthy nutrients going into your cells. When we don't eat healthy food, then we don't have healthy nutrients going into our cells. And so we tend to not feel as good and have as much energy. Any questions about the digestive system, or those of you that watch the Screencastify? Any questions about that? No questions? So I already have the, let me set this down. I already have the lab conclusion questions ready to go in Google Classroom. So I'm about to post those in there as soon as I sign off of this YouTube Live. I'm going to post 3 things in there. I'm going to post this video with that assignment. So if you need to come back and watch something, you can. I'm going to post some notes that I typed up about each of the organs that go in a little bit more detail if you need to refer to those to answer the questions. And then, of course, the third thing I'm going to do is I'm going to post the lab conclusion questions. I put everything in red. Everything that's in red means that you need to stop and answer a question. While you're doing that assignment, if you need any help or you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message. I keep my phone on me, and my phone will tell me when someone's posted a question underneath an assignment, and then I try to respond to that as quickly as I can, as long as it's within the hours of like 8 and 2:30ish, because I'm usually helping my kids with their schoolwork after that. But even then, I still am answering questions up until like 8 o'clock at night. It just might not be as immediate. So. All right, guys. Well, like I said, I miss you guys so much. I would much rather be in class watching you guys do this lab and being grossed out and having fun doing the hands-on stuff. But I'm glad that I was able to do this lab with you guys so you can still kind of have a similar experience. Yes, Dahlia, I did a Google Hangout last week.